Clare FM's Beyond Belief with Stephen Fletcher.
Clare FM.
Good evening. It's just after 9 o'clock on Sunday the 10th of May, and you're very welcome to Beyond Belief. It's great to be back with you again. Stephen Fletcher with you for this hour of conversation and music. In tonight's programme, I talk to Mark Dooley, the organist and director of music at St Nicholas Collegeiate Church in Galway. The choir from St Nicholas has recently returned from a visit to Rome, where they were invited to sing during Mass at St Peter's Basilica. You may remember in Beyond Belief a couple of months ago, I spoke to Niall West, the recently retired school principal from Rathkeale, who was planning a trek to Everest Base Camp. Niall is now back after what turned out to be a very eventful trip, and I caught up with him last week. And of course I talked to my friend and colleague Fr Gerry Kenny to catch up with what's happening in our churches. The weather continues to improve and it's getting a little warmer, and these days are getting longer. Let's start with this from the Lumineers. Hey ho! Welcome to Beyond Belief.
I've been trying to do it right. I've been living a lonely life. I've been sleeping here instead. I've been sleeping in my bed. Sleeping in my bed. So show me family, all the blood that I will bleed. I don't know where I belong. I don't know where I went wrong. But I can write a song. I belong with you, you belong with me, you're my sweetheart. I belong with you, you belong with me, you're my sweetheart. I don't think you're right for him. Think of what it might have been if you took a bus to Chinatown. I'd be standing on Canal and Bowery. She'd be standing next to me. I belong with you, you belong with me, you're my sweetheart. I belong with you, you belong with me, you're my sweetheart. Love, we need it now. Let's hope for some. So we're bleeding now. I belong with you, you belong with me, you're my sweetheart. I belong with you, you belong with me, you're my sweetheart.
This is Clare FM.
Here we are again, happy as can be, all good pals and jolly good company. Strolling round.
Well, here we are again, happy as can be. Good evening, Jerry.
Good evening to you, Stephen, and welcome back to Ireland.
Yeah, thank you. It's good to be back. It seems we've been a long time away, but we travelled back via the ferry on Saturday. So it's good to be back and a busy time. So, Jerry, how are things while I've been away?
Not too bad at all. Well, it's busy enough here too. We're in the throes of the First Communion season, and also back here in the West we have confirmation as well coming up in our parishes in the pastoral rural area here in West Clare. So that's keeping us going, and luckily the weather is going to be in our favour, hopefully. At least it's got very mild, and we've had for quite a nice week here now, nice and bright, and the sun shining, and visitors around again. So, the things are looking up as we move in through this month of May.
Yeah, good. I was very taken by hearing about the marathon. We've had the London Marathon here, but of course we have a lot of other local marathons, and just last week we had one here in Milton Keynes. But I was looking at the London Marathon, which raised £87 million for charity this year. That's an amazing achievement, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And, there are people that train and they work towards that goal a lot. And I think coming up here, usually I think in about mid-July, there's a particular marathon, a mini marathon here in Kilkee. And there are several other marathons all around the place as well. Of course, the big one in Ireland here is the Dublin Marathon. That takes place around the October weekend. And of course, now that the fine weather is with us, it encourages all of those events, those sporting events, and the charities benefit from them as well, because people go in fundraising connection with those events. And that's good for all the local charities.
Yeah, and coming up in the show, Gerry, interesting, a name that we've mentioned before in connection with the Vatican. We had one of our choirs, the St Nicholas Collegeiate Church choir in Galway, were invited to go to the Vatican, and they sang there a few weeks ago. In the programme tonight, I'm talking to the organist and music director, Mark Dooley. And I asked him, how do you get invited? And he said one of the people that helped was Martin Brown.
Our former colleague of Beyond Belief,
I know.
Martin. And I see actually last week as well, when looking at the photographs of the visit which we talked about of the Archbishop of Canterbury to Pope Leo, Martin was one of the chief people there alongside Pope Leo. So he's definitely beyond belief over there in Rome, carrying on the tradition.
Very good, yeah. Because Mark Dooley was telling me that, he said he comes from Ennis, and I was able to say, yes, I know he does. We know him. He was one of our colleagues. Well, congratulations to him, and moving in important circles, isn't he?
That's right. And looking at what we were chatting about last week, about the world stage that's moving so fast by the hour nearly, in terms of what's happening in the Middle East and all the tension that's there. But this week in particular, I think the movement has been more towards diplomacy rather than military engagement, and hopefully that's our prayer, that some negotiation of peace will break out and will give us some stability in the world, because so many people are suffering because of this, with the rise of prices and everything. It is really very, very tough on people here, but especially in the poorer countries in our world, because they're the ones that will suffer most, the most vulnerable.
Yeah, and I see negotiations are going on in the Vatican as well, aren't they? I see Mark Rubio.
That's right. I visited with the Pope on Thursday. So at least, despite all that the American administration were throwing against Pope Leo and his particular stance, that at least dialogue is the way forward. And sometimes this dialogue has to happen behind closed doors, so that people get the flavour of what really is important and understanding one another. And that's something that will bear fruit. As long as people keep talking and people negotiating, and diplomacy is put up at the top of the list rather than military engagement, I think then there is some hope.
Yeah. That's it. And that's what we need, Gerry, prayer and hope. And let's hope that peace, oh dear, it's such a terrible situation that we have at the moment. And all this megaphone diplomacy, shouting at each other, it's getting nowhere, is it? So please God, quiet negotiation and sense will prevail.
Well, Stephen, I hope that you will enjoy being back in West Clare.
Thank you. I look forward to it, Gerry. Thank you very much. Something I meant to mention when I was talking to Fr Gerry just now. There is a very big event in Spanish Point next Sunday. Luka Bloom is giving a concert there. I caught up with Linda Hebenstreit to find out all about it. So good evening, Linda. Thank you for joining me. You've got an event coming up next week.
Oh, we do. We are delighted to announce that we are hosting a fundraiser for the little church in Spanish Point. And this fundraiser was the idea of Johnny Berg from the Armada Hotel. And he has set up the entire thing as a benefit for the church. All of the money collected from this event will go toward the church. It's on May 17th. It's in the evening. Begin there at the Armada with a glass of wine and a 2-course dinner. And then you can stroll down to the church or avail of the shuttle that will be available for a 7 o'clock concert with Luka Bloom in the church. And Stephen, as you know, the acoustics in that church are just lovely.
Yeah.
It's a very intimate setting, but the acoustics are beautiful.
Brilliant. And so Luka and the Armada are giving their time to this.
Absolutely, all of it. All of it. We are just so grateful, as you can imagine.
So how much is it?
It is $65. And again, that is the 2-course dinner with the wine and then the concert. I see that as a direct donation toward the upkeep of this historical jewel. It's what's called a Mediterranean Gothic. And it is a sweet little place with beautiful windows, lovely setting, and it deserves to be saved for future generations as best we can. It couldn't get better. You can get the tickets on Eventbrite. Supper and Song with Luka Bloom, Christchurch fundraiser.
Right. So just look for Supper and Song with Luka Bloom, Christchurch fundraiser on Eventbrite. Thank you so much, Linda. I look forward to seeing you next Sunday there.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Stephen.
And this is Luka Bloom, who I look forward to seeing next Sunday evening. Luka, you couldn't have come at a better time.
Where is this place we've come to? We don't know what to say. We long to see each other and are frightened of that day. You met me in a barren place. You walked me to the hill. We were so good for each other then. I know we could be still. You couldn't have come at a better time. You couldn't have come at a better time. You couldn't have come at a better time. Not if you tried, oh no. Not if you tried, oh no. We have 500 questions between you and me. But when you look into my eyes, my love, tell me what you see. Is it something you're not sure of? Is it something true and fine? Or is it just another case of the right thing at the wrong time? You couldn't have come at a better time. You couldn't have come at a better time. You couldn't have come at a better time. Since we were first together by the lakeside sky so blue, we were so good for each other. Me and you and me and you and me and you and me and you. You couldn't have come at a better time. You couldn't have come at a better time. You couldn't have come at a better time. Not if you tried. Oh no. Not if you tried. Oh no. Woo! You couldn't have come at a better time. You couldn't have come at a better time. You couldn't have come at a better time. Not if you tried. Oh no. Not if you tried. Oh no. Not if you tried.
Well, I'm very pleased to be speaking again to Niall West, who is back from his Everest trek. Niall, how did it go?
Well, it was quite a challenge. I think possibly a bit more difficult than I had imagined. One thing that really struck me were the temperatures. particularly early on, which surprised me because I thought the coldest spot would be actually at base camp itself, but we
Yeah.
actually hit some bad weather earlier on and the temperatures were really, really cold.
Really? I mean,
So,
how cold does it get?
well, we did have one camping night and I believe the temperature was minus 15 that night.
Wow, yeah.
So usually by day it was sort of anything between -5 and 2 or 3 degrees. But actually, once the sun would come out, and if you were in the sun, you'd warm up quite quickly.
Yeah.
But it was then when you'd, I suppose, get out of the sun into the shade, things were cold.
Yeah. Yeah. So just remind us, how many days was it since you flew out?
I flew from Dublin. So I flew from Dublin to Kathmandu via Istanbul and left Dublin on the 1st of April, arriving then into Kathmandu in the early on the morning of the 2nd of April. Actually, a friend of mine happened to be on the same flight. He was coming from Manchester. We met in Istanbul, so that was good. And once we cleared the immigration in Kathmandu, which actually ran much smoother than I had imagined, we met our guide who brought us to the hotel. And the first thing he advised us to do actually was to walk into Tamil, where there would be lots of outdoor equipment stores, and to get what he called yak tracks. And the yak tracks we discovered were like mini crampons that you would.
Oh, right.
He said we possibly would need those for some part of the trek when in case there was snow. And as it happened, we did need them on one occasion. So it was good to have them because it was actually one of the acclimatization days. So we had climbed up several hundred meters and then it was coming down in the snow. The yak tracks proved invaluable, really, because it was quite slippery.
Yeah, and these are just like crampons, are they? Not that I've ever worn crampons, but they're the same idea, spikes on a metal frame.
Yes, now the frame is a sort of a rubbery, stretchy material that just stretches over the back and front of the boot, and you have the grips then underneath.
Right. So how long did it take to acclimatise?
Well, the whole trip was 14 days. So 10 of those days were going to a base camp. So we reached base camp on the 10th day. The advice or the standard information is that you shouldn't gain any more than 500 metres on any particular day, 500 metres in altitude. And then you're also advised to sleep at a slightly lower level than the highest point you've been. So the first few days were actually, I suppose, we were making progress, getting towards base camp with a few detours where we'd go up a little bit higher. And then we had what they called in the itinerary a rest day with the option of an acclimatization walk. Now, as it turned out, the optional walk wasn't really optional. Everybody was to do that. Just I suppose they did say that if anyone wanted to shorten that walk, that they could.
Yeah. So. And you say a walk, but how long did it take? How long a walk was it?
On that particular day, that was possibly just about 3 or 4 hours, maybe.
Yeah.
So most days we'd start between 7:30 and 8, and we usually arrived to the next tea house between 2:30 and 4:30, depending. So they were long days. We would stop for a tea break and stop for lunch. As well.
Yeah. You mentioned when we spoke that altitude sickness was a real problem, or could be a real problem.
Could be, yes.
And that indeed proved to be so for one of your number, I think.
It did. Now, quite a few people did suffer a little bit. They were finding the going was quite tough. And then, unfortunately, one of our team members got very, very sick. She had been finding it difficult, and then there was one evening where we found a lovely warm bakery, basically, and we all huddled in there because it was quite difficult to get warm at times. And on that particular occasion, that evening, she actually seemed really, really well. She'd really brightened up and got a hot shower there as well, which was an absolute luxury to get a hot shower. And then, unfortunately, the following morning, her oxygen levels had dropped considerably again. And in the village we were in, Dingboche, it's the name of the village, there was a clinic. So She was brought to the clinic and she was put on oxygen that morning. And we were told she was responding quite well. So a friend of hers who was traveling with her stayed with her, and one of the team. And the rest of us then continued on to our next stop. And throughout the day, we'd be getting updates, that they were happy with how she was. They did need to get her lower down, because that's one of the, it's quite important if you are suffering from altitude sickness, is to get lower down. But the weather on that particular day was quite poor, lower down, so helicopters weren't flying. But again, we were still getting the reports that, that she was responding quite well. Following morning, then we got word that she had deteriorated another bit, and they had a helicopter. The helicopters were flying. They had a helicopter ordered, and they were bringing her to the helicopter when, again, she just took a very bad turn. Got her into the helicopter. It was only about a 10-minute flight to get down to Lukla, but unfortunately she had passed away before she got to Lukla.
Yeah.
So that was a terrible shock for us all.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm sure, although you didn't know her that well, you form a bond, I guess, when there's a gang of you.
Yes, because I think we were with the small group. The 11 of us started out. You sort of very quickly bonded with everybody.
Yeah.
And we were amazingly lucky that everybody did bond so well with each other. That definitely helped with the whole trip. Yeah.
Yeah, but a tragic outcome. I don't know how often do people get altitude sickness? Is that a common thing?
Yes, it is. It would be common. And now the guides were very good in that they were telling us what to look out for. They said it's, sometimes they can't see, so they're depending on you to be honest and truthful and tell them. So things to watch out for were headaches, nausea, lack of sleep, fatigue, and of course difficulty breathing then as well. And every evening they had an evaluation sheet that we were to fill out to sort of self-evaluate as to how we were feeling. I suppose I was fortunate in that I didn't seem to have many, if any, symptoms. I do recall that once we reached about the 5,000 meters, that by the evening time I was a little more tired than I normally would be, maybe a slightly lightheaded, but otherwise I was fine. And then by morning, after a good night's sleep, because I did sleep well all the time, I had no difficulty there.
Good.
So I suppose I was fortunate.
Yeah.
We did have one of our team members also had to, was brought down by helicopter because she was beginning to suffer a little bit.
Dear, oh dear, yeah. So it's not a straightforward walk in the park sort of thing, is it? You have to be prepared.
No, you have to be, yes. And now this was the guides that were with us. He had been guiding for 20 years, and this was his first time coming across somebody that got so ill,
really,
and died. So yeah.
Yeah. How many days from the base camp were you when this tragedy happened?
That we were about 3 days, I think, from base camp when this happened. Yeah.
And nobody thought, that's it, I'm not going to go any further. They hid any concerns they had anyway and carried on.
Well, yeah. No, I think everybody was concerned, and
of course,
and possibly people were, I suppose, more concerned about their own health as well.
Yeah.
And I suppose we all thought of Kat who died, and she'd possibly want us all to continue.
Absolutely,
yeah. So it was when we finally did reach base camp, then it was very emotional, I suppose one thing just being successful and getting there, but also then thinking about our fellow traveller or trekker that didn't make it.
Yeah, so you reached base camp, and did you stay overnight on base camp, or did you go up and then come back down?
Originally, we were supposed to stay a night at base camp. We were originally supposed to camp there, but a week before we departed, we got word that we wouldn't be able to because there had been a change in the government in Nepal in December, and they had brought in a new ruling that only people who were actually summiting Everest could stay there at base camp. So instead, they, I suppose, changed our itinerary and that we camped at the base camp of another mountain, Amudaban.
Oh,
So that would have been at a lower altitude. It was at 4,600 meters as opposed to base camp was 5,300. So a little bit lower down, but it was earlier in our trek.
yeah.
And that was, we were the first, I suppose, the first group with Exodus was the company we were traveling with. So we were the first group to actually camp there.
Yeah.
So that was
brilliant stuff, and well done. Obviously your fitness and everything was okay, and because you've done a lot of this sort of thing, haven't you? Trekking and walk, and you were used to altitude and things.
Yes, this was my third time at altitude. Now it's been quite a number of years, about 15 years ago, I think, since I climbed Kilimanjaro, and I had also done the Inca Trail in Peru as well, some bit before that.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I was in a waiting room, and there was somebody looking for sponsorship. There was a poster up on the wall for the Inca Trail, and I was going to ask you if you that was going to be the next thing you did, but goodness, you've already ticked that off, have you?
Yes, that was my first. I suppose my first experience of altitude.
Wow. Yeah.
Many years ago.
So, where is next for you? Do you think? What's the next challenge that Niall's going to be facing?
I'm not sure now. I do have one or two cycling trips planned for the summer. So in June I'm going with a group to Bavaria. So we've a week cycling there, and then in August we're all again with a group of friends. We're traveling to Swaziland for some cycling.
Wow.
So.
That's
It won't be at altitude.
No,
but
no.
It'll be challenging in another way.
Yeah, well, I mean, interesting places to go to on a bicycle as well. That sounds pretty dramatic to be doing that. We were thinking of you. Out of the blue, on one Sunday, I was going to take a service in Rathkeale, and I thought, I'll find out how he's doing, I wonder. And I just sent a WhatsApp message, and by the time I got up the next day, you'd replied. And not only that, you'd also sent a picture of you at the base camp. And I thought, that's brilliant. So there's nowhere on earth that you can go that you can't receive WhatsApp messages, apparently.
That's it. It was one of those lucky occasions that I did get a little bit of a signal. I had purchased an eSIM for Nepal, and there were certain days when it worked. There were other days it didn't. And in fact, the signal at base camp itself was very good.
Good. Well, I have trouble at Carrigaholt sometimes with my mobile signals. So the thought that you can be halfway up a mountain and still be able to get WhatsApp messages is impressive. But thank you. Yes. And I could relay your news to the congregation in Rathkeale, which I'm sure they were very relieved about. Niall, well, thank you. And welcome back to Rathkeale. And I'm sure everything seems very warm and lush and I won't say boring, but it's all very predictable now, isn't it? No worries about altitude sickness or anything else, or minus 15 degrees.
No, it's actually, the weather has been lovely since I came home.
Yeah, good. Well, Niall, thank you very much, and well done for completing the trek, and well done for surviving and making it safely back. Thank you not only for managing to do the climb and or the trek and the climb and all the rest of it, but also for taking time out to talk to me, even when you were halfway up a mountain. That was impressive. So thank you so much, and I do wish you all the best in whatever future endeavours you decided to carry out, whether it's Swaziland or whatever. But I wish you very well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Stephen. Thank you.
Well, I'm afraid I'm never one to miss a corny link. Here are Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell with Ain't No Mountain High Enough.
Ain't no mountain high, ain't no valley low, ain't no river wide enough, baby.
If you need me, call me, no matter where you are, no matter how far.
Don't worry, baby.
Just call my name, I'll be there in a hurry. You don't have to worry, 'cause baby, there ain't no mountain high enough. Ain't
While I've been in Milton Keynes, I've been fascinated to hear the bird song early in the morning. I thought I would just share some with you now. What a lovely way to slow down and relax before I transport you to the Vatican in Rome. Well, I'm very pleased to have been able to join up with Mark Dooley, the Director of Music and the organist at St Nicholas Collegeiate Church in Galway. Well, Mark, thank you so much for joining me. And I really wanted to talk initially about the trip that the choir had, that you were invited to perform in the Vatican in Rome last month. And that was a pretty unusual thing, wasn't it, for a Church of Ireland choir to be invited to go to Rome in that way?
Yes, we're not really sure if we're the first choir from the Church of Ireland ever to do that. Certainly we're not the first Anglican choir. I know others have sung in St Peter's, but as far as we can work out, I think we're the first choir from the Church of Ireland to have done that.
And what a great privilege. Yeah, so how do these things get arranged? You know...
it's all who you know. So, but also we have a very strong link in Rome through our bishop.
Of course.
Michael Burrows, because his work with the Anglican Centre there and the people that he knows.
Right.
That was very helpful in establishing the links we needed to set up this trip. And we had a very strong advocate who actually issued the invitation in the ecumenical officer in the Vatican, Martin Brown, who is actually Irish and is actually from Ennis.
I know, and in fact, at one time he used to be on Beyond Belief on Clare FM.
Oh, right.
I personally don't know him, but I know my colleague, Fr Gerry Kenny and Father Brendan Quinlivan do know him, and I wouldn't like to suggest that we had any influence in it, but yeah, he is keen. His role in the dicastery is to encourage links with the Anglican Church.
Indeed, yes, and he's been very involved with the recent visit of the Archbishop of Canterbury as well.
Yes.
Not that long after we were there. That's really how it was all set up. That was the starting point for it.
So did they tell you what they wanted you to sing, or do you have a free hand? How does that happen?
Well, there's always a bit of negotiation, because in these places, I mean, as you can imagine, St Peter's in the Vatican and St Paul's outside the walls, these big basilicas where we sang, time is of the essence. So there was quite some negotiation with what we were allowed to sing, what would fit into the time schedule, and even at the last minute we had to make some changes as it happened to ensure that things were got through in time.
Yeah, and you sang at a mass as well, which...
We did, yes. So we sang at the midday mass at the altar of the chair in St Peter's, which is the area right up at the east end of the Basilica, which is a very splendid place to sing, and where they have a daily midday mass. So we sang at that, which was a great privilege to be able to do that. Great experience.
And is there any move to have the choirs from the Vatican to come to sing in St Nicholas?
Well, you never know. We didn't actually collaborate with any of the choirs there, though we were working with some musicians from the Sistine Choir on the day, as it happened. But yes, it would be great to think that they might come here. I know they were in the UK not so long ago. I think they teamed up with the choir of Westminster Abbey at one point, quite recently, I think. But as far as I know, they've never been to Ireland. So
Okay, well, that's something for their diaries to have a look at. So how long were you there? I mean, what a great opportunity for your members, your choir members, to be there and to be in such a prestigious and beautiful place.
We were there from Wednesday to Sunday, so we had time to rehearse, and then we had our 3 big engagements. So it was a wonderful experience, because going to Rome, it's not just the events that you might be singing at or the concerts or the services. It's being in the city is just so marvellous. And to be singing particularly the music of composers like Palestrina in the city and in the place where he worked was a wonderful thrill for us. These tours are always not just about the music, they're about the experience of the place, and they're about the experience of the group as well. For a choir's esprit de corps, they're just unparalleled really in terms of bringing everyone together and really creating that bond. So we had some great nights out, some great meals together, and seeing the city together was really fun.
Lovely. How many people are in your choir?
Usually about 24. This is in the Collegiate Church choir. As you may know, there are actually 5 choirs in the church under the umbrella of the Schola Cantorum, but the main choir, the workhorse choir, if you like, that does most of the work, most of the singing, is the Collegiate Church choir. So this was the choir that went to Rome, and we had 24 people singing there.
And a mixture of ages. Do you have many young people in the choir?
We do, yes. It's a huge age range, now that I think of it. I won't say how old the oldest person is, but well into retirement, shall we say. And then we have young choral scholars as well at the other end of the scale. And we have junior choral scholars and senior choral scholars who sing in the choir.
And some of these are on a scholarship, are they?
They are. In fact, we're recruiting at the moment. Well, we're going to be recruiting very soon for new scholars to start in September for the new academic year. So we have junior choral scholars who are secondary students who generally are graduates from the choristers, so our children's choir. They can, when they finish their time in the choristers, usually aged around 13 or 14, they can then pick up a junior choral scholarship to join the Collegiate Church choir. And then we have collegiate scholarships, which are for 3rd level students, usually at the university, studying at the University of Galway. And they're very prestigious, very well remunerated, and we expect a lot from them as well. They sing in 3 or 4 of the other choirs in the Schola Cantorum. So
what's the process to recruit these scholarship students? Do they have an audition, or do you know them, as they've developed over the years, and so you're keen to support them?
Yes, I mean, with some of them you'll know them, particularly those who've been choristers. We'll know them very well. But there is a formal audition, because I think it's good to say, you have to reach a certain standard and be able to sight read to a certain level, and the voice needs to have been developed to a certain level as well. But yeah, I mean, if you know the singer, then it tends to be a bit of a shoo-in. And we prioritise, of course. I mean, one looks after one's own. So the choristers who come up through from aged 8 or 9 through the Schola Cantorum, obviously we want to keep them on board. That's one of the reasons we have the scholarship scheme, that, we want to keep them singing.
Yeah.
And singing with us. So, one wants them to continue, really. At the university level, it's slightly different, because we're trying to attract 3rd level students to come to Galway, study music here, because there's a music degree at the university now, and then have a scholarship with us as part of that, which really helps fund their studies as well.
So all this sounds like a very expensive operation. This comes out of the church funds, does it? Or do you have separate sponsorship for your choirs?
It's from a number of sources. Yes, the church pays a certain amount to support the music in terms of salaries and core costs, but we have a very successful coffee concert series of Saturday mornings in the church, where I ask people to come and perform in aid of the Schola Cantorum, so they don't take a fee. And then the people who pay to come to the concert, the income goes towards our scholarship fund. And they're very popular concerts. We've got a simply fantastic team of bakers, and it's really the best baking this side of the Shannon, I think. People come along on Saturday morning. The music is almost incidental as they heat their plates up with all these baked goodies. And safety in terms of the sugar intake. I hate to think what we're doing to. Anyway, it's a very popular series. And so that's another income source. And then we have supporters who are friends of the Schola Cantorum, who give us a certain amount every year, or we've had some significant one-off donations as well. So it's 3 really distinct areas, and we're trying to build each of those as well. And I have to say, the church is hugely supportive. I mean, we couldn't do any of this without the support of Provost Linda Pilo, who is absolutely behind the music and its role in the liturgy, and our select vestry, who again are hugely supportive. And that's not always to be guaranteed, as you know.
No, no, I'm
very
sure.
much depend on the people involved, and we're very lucky here in Galway, I must say.
Yeah, and of course it adds so much to worship. I mean, it's one thing to have a concert, but the other thing is, you are singing for worship as part of the liturgy, aren't you?
That's right. Yeah, well, it's a very, very important part of what we do on Sunday mornings and at Evensong, and when we sing Compton during the week as well. We aim to create this sort of matrix of music and liturgy and readings and words and the building and movement and colour. All of these things come together, and the music is an essential part of that. And you never know really how it speaks to people, but sometimes you do hear people will say, look, I was at church on Sunday and that piece really spoke to me, or I was very moved by this particular piece of music. So it's a great privilege, I think, to be able to do that.
Yes. Now, you're not alone as an organist in the Collegiate Church, because you also have an assistant organist, and I think you've just appointed a new assistant organist.
We have. Well, it's a little bit more than that. So it's a double title. It's a new post that we've just created, and it's a full-time post. I'm not actually full-time in the church because I have other things that I do, but this new post is head of St Nicholas Collegeiate Cantorum. So to run the whole of the Schola Cantorum program and develop it, particularly in terms of outreach, music education for young people, for old people, a whole sort of connecting with the community piece. And then the other part of the role is Assistant Director of Music. So I'm staying on as Organist and Director of Music, but basically I'll be responsible for the liturgy, whereas our new person will be responsible for all of the ancillary activity which supports that.
Well, that's a big role then, isn't it, really?
It's very exciting, I must say, and I think it's a huge vote of confidence by the parish in music and its role, and I think it's wonderful that they have taken this very imaginative step in creating a fabulous new job in the church music and general music scene in Ireland. It's a great addition to the resource of what we have here.
Yes,
very exciting.
I saw the announcement, but I didn't appreciate that it was a full-time post. I was wondering if it was for 6 months or 9 months or, a year like some of these things. But,
no, it's a full-time and permanent position. Well, subject to the usual
of course,
contract and everything, but to start in September. So a very nice job. I wish I'd applied for it myself, really.
Yeah, well, it must be very exciting.
Fantastic appointment. Yes.
It must be very exciting to be taking this on.
Ross Watkins is the person we've appointed. He's a Welshman. He's been working in Dublin for the last few years at Christchurch Cathedral, where he's doing a sort of similar role in terms of music outreach, singing with the cathedral choir there, conducting. So it's a similar post, but I think with more responsibility, I would say, what we're offering.
Yeah.
And we're delighted he's accepted it.
Yeah, and I look forward to seeing him, and I'm sure he will be a prominent figure there. Perhaps I can even interview him. That would be very interesting.
That would be wonderful. I'm sure he'd be delighted to be
Good. Now, I see you have a number of choirs who visit. There seems to be a regular movement of choral bodies around the world almost. You've got people coming from all over.
We have. I mean, there are a huge number of choirs that visit to give concerts. So particularly in the summer, and particularly American choirs, it's like a sort of, almost like a rite of passage for some of these college choirs to come to Ireland and do a tour and sing in ancient medieval churches, which of course is a novel experience for them because they don't have buildings like that. But something that we really want to develop is these choirs actually taking part in the liturgy so that they might come and sing on a Sunday morning. We have a choir, for instance, coming at the end of the month, May the 31st, I think it is, on Trinity Sunday from Aberdeen University. Their chapel choir is touring Ireland, so they're going to come and sing the Eucharist. And it's great to give them an experience of what we do. And it's great for us to hear, a different choir singing in the service and see what they bring to that.
Yeah.
And I think it's great to be able to share, that liturgical experience, particularly with choirs that don't do that very often. Chamber choirs or concert choirs, to give them a chance to sing their sacred repertoire in a liturgical setting, I think is a very positive thing to do, very positive experience to give them.
Absolutely, yeah. And as you say, it benefits the parish as well to have new voices coming in and taking part in the liturgy.
Absolutely. And I can give my people a Sunday off, which is always always a boon.
Yeah, good. Well, you mentioned that you have a number of different ages in the choir and different skills in the choir. So are you looking for ordinary people, shall I say, to join the choir as well?
Indeed we are. And we have a policy of welcoming anyone within the umbrella of the Schola Cantorum. So we have, for people who've never really done much singing at all, we have a group called the St Nicholas Singers. And they sing once or twice a year, a big project where they rehearse on a couple of weekends and then present a concert. And that's an all-comers group. Anyone can join, even if they've never sung a note before. And indeed, it can be very interesting to see how fast they pick things up, and also how some people are still in the concert holding the music up the wrong way, and you wonder what on earth is going to come out. But it's very exciting to be able to give people that experience. But we also, we're looking for, we have some vacancies in the Collegiate Church Choir at the moment. So looking for singers with a little bit more experience who have had some choral experience. There are some vacancies there at the moment, and it's a great opportunity for people to sing marvellous music in a great building. You know, it's unique in that way.
Yeah, the acoustic
is an experience that you don't get if you're singing in a concert choir or a chamber choir.
Yes, and the acoustic in St Nicholas is marvellous, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, we're very lucky with that. It's about 4 seconds of reverberation.
Wow.
Not so good for the spoken word, but fantastic for music. So
yeah,
we're very lucky to have that.
Well, thank you so much for telling us all about, first of all, your trip and the new people you have in the church involved with the choir, and the new assistant director of music, and we look forward to seeing him, and also the new members of the choir that will be attracted to it.
That's right. We're hoping that we'll have some new faces joining us in September.
Well, thank you very much for joining us.
Pleasure. Great to be with you.
Well, I couldn't find a recording of what the St Nicholas Collegiate Choir was singing in St Peter's Basilica, but to give us a flavour, I've chosen this by the same composer, Giovanni Pierluigi da Palestrina, who served as master of the chapel choir at St Peter's in the 1550s. This is Dan Comprenteur, sung here by the 16 and Harry Christophers. Well, we're coming to the end of Beyond Belief for this evening. Thank you for joining me. To take us up to the news at 10 o'clock, we have A Clare Benediction by John Rutter. My thanks go to my guests, the adventurer Niall West, the organist and director of music Mark Dooley, the church warden from Christchurch, Spanish Point, and Fr Gerry Kenny, who joined me for coffee and a chat. Remember, you can listen back to Beyond Belief by going to the Clare FM website and clicking on the catch-up tab. And you can join me for Sunday prayer at 7:45 next Sunday morning. Thank you for joining me this evening. This is Stephen Fletcher wishing you a joyful and a peaceful week ahead, free from worry and concern. Continue to pray for peace in this troubled world. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand.